Hi, Lauren Hagen. In this video, I want to share with you some really interesting things to think about when we're cutting hair. It's the foundation and the principles of hair cutting. I love old sayings. You can't build a house on a weak foundation. And hair cutting works the same way. If we really understand the mechanics that happen when we cut hair, it will give us the ability to create, recreate, and communicate any haircut or any shape that our client is desiring. Now, I don't know about for you, but when I'm behind the chair, I have my guests constantly bring me in pictures. And I love pictures because it tells a story and it really allows us to see where our client's vision is when it comes to their haircut. If you take a look here, you can see many different shapes. You know, when we think about shape, there's only two lines in the universe, straight and curved. That applies to when we cut hair. We can only ever really create those two types of silhouettes and a shape. As you can see in these pictures, there's a variation of straight silhouettes as well as curved silhouettes. So let's dive in a little bit deeper and think about what are some key things that we need to look at when our client brings us in a picture. For me, I like to look at the line that we just talked about. So am I seeing a straight line in the silhouette or am I seeing a curved line in the silhouette? I also like to look at all the different elements that are in shapes, perimeter, silhouette, and texture. And then of course, lastly, I think of my movements. How am I going to elevate the hair? Am I going to use any over direction? And what type of finger angle am I going to choose? Haircutting is a science, you know, it's taking all these moving parts and putting them together to create the desired shape that you and your guest wants. So let's talk a little bit now about elements of shape. We said the three elements of shape are perimeter, silhouette, and texture. So let's take a look at perimeter. As you can see in some of these pictures, there's variations of perimeter. Perimeters can be one length, and perimeter can also be asymmetrical. Something I often forget about that's huge. Always remember that perimeter is the border of your shape. So it's anything happening in the fringe, anything happening on the sides, and anything that happens at the bottom. Again, your perimeter encloses what happens on the interior. Which brings us to our next point, which is silhouette. Now, if you take a look at these pictures, you'll notice, again, the silhouette we typically view the best when we're looking at a side profile. So we can start to analyze the line that we see in the silhouette. This is key. The line that we see in the silhouette is determined by the degree we elevate the hair. I'll say that again because it's really important. The line that we see in our silhouette, straight or curved, is determined by the degree that we elevate the hair, and that's a really big one. Now, the last element of shape is texture. And you'll notice in these pictures, there's a lot of different texture that happens. Texturizing is really putting your own personal touch onto a haircut. As you can see in these photos, you can have a lot of texture or you can have a little bit of texture. So again, always analyze the three elements of shape: perimeter, silhouette, and texture. Now let's move into our first movement and talk about elevation. What is elevation? Well, we know that elevation is an up and down movement. Anytime we take the hair and we simply move it up and move it down, this creates graduation or layers. Now I want to dive in and talk a little bit more about the types of lines and different elevation and what we need to be aware of when we cut hair. So I want you to look at this grid that you see. You see a vertical line, you see a horizontal line, and then you see two types of diagonal lines. So how does this relate to cutting hair? Well, anytime, this is a principle of cutting hair, anytime I elevate hair at or below this black horizontal line that you see, you will always and forever get a straight line in your silhouette because it's the principle of what happens. So here's that horizontal line in 90 degrees. If I'm cutting hair, anytime I take hair and cut it here or below, anywhere on the head, I'm always going to get a straight line in my silhouette. So something to think about. Watch your elevation in the mirror when you're cutting hair so you know the outcome before your final end result. Now, anytime we take the hair and elevate it above the horizontal line to 90 degrees, the moment we do that, when the hair falls, we'll see a really soft curved line that curves inward in the silhouette. Think Jennifer Aniston, Friends haircut. You know, think modern shags. them curved lines that really curve in and remove weight in a haircut. Now, the last thing to be mindful is if we take the hair and if we choose to elevate it in relation to where it lives, 90 degrees on the head, creates a uniform end result. So elevation is something really important to always be mindful of when you're cutting hair, because elevation creates consistency in your graduation, in your final overall end result. So we just talked a lot about elevation. Now let's take a look at some visuals of what we mean when we talk about a straight line or a curved line. So as you can see here on this slide, like we talked about, when you elevate hair at or below the horizontal line of 90 degrees, you will always see a straight line in your silhouette. If we take a look at the next one, you'll notice that elevation, once we come above 90 degrees, you can see what happens is the hair will curve inward. And then lastly, when we take the hair and actually elevate and wrap and lay on top of the head and actually cut it on the opposite side, you get this beautiful curved line in your silhouette that actually will curve outward all the way down to the bottom. Now let's talk about the last two movements of cutting hair, over direction and finger angle. So over direction is a side to side movement. So anytime we take hair and we move it left to right, side to side, we're creating length and weight in the opposite direction. I feel and find that oftentimes over direction happens and we're not even aware of it, and it throws our shape off. So always be aware of your body position. If you don't want to over direct hair, your body always needs to be parallel to the section that you're working on. If you want to over direct hair, keep your body to the area or the point of reference that you want to over direct to, and then bring all the hair to you. So just a hot tip to think about when you're in the salon. Now the last movement of hair cutting is finger angle. Finger angle is when we choose to take the hair and we can either angle our fingers in or we can angle our fingers out. So what does that do for our shape? Finger angle places volume at the top or at the bottom, depending on how we choose our finger angle. So for example, if I have the client that wants more volume in the crown, have you ever had that? What I need to think about is I need more hair in the crown to give me more volume. So I would choose to use my finger angle out. More hair equals more volume. Now, if I have a client that's maybe a little sparse at the bottom and I need to give more weight to the hair, then I would choose to have a finger angle that points inward. Again, look at the bottom of the section. More hair will equal more volume. All these things that we talked about is the principles of cutting hair: elevation, over direction, finger angle. Analyze those three elements when your client brings you in a picture: perimeter, silhouette, texture. And for me, the biggest of it all is always really being mindful of what degree you elevate hair to, because that is what gives us our final result, whether it's straight or curved. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click in the link below to find that instant way to do those nice curved layers that we talked about. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. See you next time.